celebrating the baby boomer lifestyle. This is Boomer Life with Stirling Fox on AM 650.
Ahoy! And welcome back to the program. It's the Boat Show here on Boomer Life on AM 650. I had to say that. I haven't said it yet this hour. Come on. Alan Stovell is a managing partner with Western Marine Company. Brendan Keys is Marine Sales Manager with GA Checkpoint. Both my guests in studio are members of the Board of Directors of Boating BC. And gentlemen, one of the things that we've discovered in our conversation so far, and Brendan, you were very helpful in this, is helping to identify for our listeners the fact that the marine industry, the boat building industry, the boat business in our province is booming. It's absolutely huge. One of the reasons for that has to be, Brendan, that we are, by and large, a 12-month-a-year boating city, certainly Vancouver. Now, you can't say the same about Williams Lake, but you can certainly say people go out, we have the Carroll ships. I mean, that's not a fluke. People boat 12 months of the year here.
Yeah, we're very fortunate here with the milder weather, you know, when we consider our down months, maybe, you know, November, December, but we have people quite active in boating. September, November, October, December, some will be kind of, so we definitely have a very, very healthy boating business here. We've got to remember, January kicks off the Vancouver Boat Show.
Right.
So, I mean, that's we're still considered winter, but man, you got to look, we've been very fortunate. We get some beautiful weather in January, February, and it's last year we saw that this year where the season kicked off in January, and it has pretty much been full steam ahead for the last 9 months. So
we've had a fantastic year,
awesome,
haven't we? Now, the Boat Show, I should mention, is sort of the jewel in the crown, isn't it, Alan, of what Boating BC does every year, the on the water and under the dome versions of the BC Boat Show.
That's correct. Yep. We're very fortunate that Boating BC as the association does now own 100% of the Vancouver Boat Show, and it's a very successful event for us and provides us a very good venue for getting information out to the public, but also provides the association with some funding throughout the year to do a lot of the work that it does. So we're one of the only associations in the country that actually owns its own boat show. One
of the things that people learn when they go to the boat show, aside from the fact that there's an astonishing variety of watercraft available for every level of interest and every budget, but again, it's this whole business about the boat industry in our province, Alan, that people are beginning to understand that because we have the luxury of a 12-month-of-the-year seaport here in Vancouver, boating is a 12-month-of-the-year business particularly in our city, but also in our province, isn't it?
That's right. Yep. There are opportunities for employment there. So I see this quite often. I see people that I know that are in the boating activity or the boating lifestyle, and then their kids get involved and they get addicted to that. And the next thing you know, the kids are wanting to work in the industry.
Right.
And so we see
that quite often. Well, you were selling boats and working when you were a high school kid.
That's right. Yeah, I sold my first boat when I was about 15 years old. I sold a little 17-foot sailboat. That was my first boat and first boat I ever sold. And but I didn't pursue the boat sales end of the business. I got into the accessories side of it. But a lot of people do. A lot of people get into selling boats at quite a young age. And continue in that for a long time.
And Brendan, you've got 20 years in the business here in British Columbia, and you understand the business literally from the ground up and recognize, because you're nodding quite vigorously as Alan was talking about opportunities available for people who want to get into the boating business.
Yeah, there's a great I'm a good example of that. I started in the business in the service side of it, and then of course I've moved through and into the sales side of the business is where I've kind of been for the last 20 odd years. But it's we get to sell fun. People come in to us to buy a boat. It's a family purchase.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be a lot of fun, excitement that goes along with it. So it's kind of neat when you work in an environment like that where people are coming in. We see people buying their first boat.
Oh, sure.
And let's remember, we all talk about two-foot-itis in the boat business. People may start buying off with that 10-foot boat, and as things move along and the family gets older, and the family gets larger, so does the boat as well. And of course, and the activities change.
So that's what two-foot-itis is.
That's what it is, man, and we love it. It's just a neat activity.
Every now and then, you need 2 more feet of boat.
It's things you want to do change, and you want to go further, and you want to bring more people with you.
Right.
And that's kind of what happens, of course, with boating. It's a neat thing. It's something that you share with family and you share with friends.
Mm-hmm.
Getting them in and introducing your friends to the water if they've never been is something that we do a lot of at our place, at our house. And we've introduced many of our friends to boating, and kind of getting out there and it's a great way to spend the afternoon with your kids. You know, if the further you get away from cell towers, it's even better because, of course, they can't communicate with anybody else.
Oh, yes, get them away from those screens, eh?
But
that's
generations
more of a challenge as time goes on.
That's right.
But also generations, like Birgit's parents, my wife's parents will come out boating with us, and so we have 3 generations out there spending some time together. That's kind of the neat thing, that's kind of get out there and do a little boating. So.
Well, that's it. That's the appeal, because you know, once you get the bug, and Alan, in your case, you got it when you were a kid, probably the same age as me, about 10 or 11 years old.
Right.
It never goes away.
That's right.
It's a lifelong condition. You just learn to live
with
it.
It is, and I don't know that I really understand that, but it definitely is. And I think actually a part of it has to do with the fact that you can do it at any age. As you said earlier, you can get into it late in life, but even if you get into it later, there's things you can do. You could be sailing an athletic sailboat in the early days, and then you get into a powerboat, and then into sailboat, and you know, whatever it is. And people upsize, and then sometimes they'll downsize.
Well, even and you've said already categorically that there's no such a thing as too late to get into the business. But, you know, I'm talking about other inhibitors. I'm thinking of my peer group, and people who have, you know, occasionally they'll let their guard down, and they'll go, you know, sooner or later I'd like to buy a boat. And then up comes the guard again. But in the meantime, and then I've got 29 other things to do.
Sure.
But one of the things is, well, I couldn't possibly begin to afford one.
Right.
Well, you don't have to go out and buy the brand new, biggest, shiniest thing on the block. You can buy a used boat.
Sure, you can.
And I mean, there's all sorts of approaches. You don't have to go out and start with a Lincoln Continental, do you?
Sure. There's even shared ownership. I mean, you know, there are lots of people that just privately arrange their own boat partnerships, but there are opportunities around now where you can get a shared ownership. You can. I had when I got into bigger boats earlier when my kids were quite young. I did what they called a yacht lease. So through a charter company, my brother and I shared access to a 36-foot trawler. I think we had 6 weeks of the year we could use the boat. You just had to book your time and so on. So that was very, very affordable, and you didn't have to worry about anything. There was no maintenance to worry about. It's all taken care of, and your share of that's included in the price. And there's also the whole charter opportunity. I mean, you can charter a powerboat, you can charter a sailboat. So if you're not sure what you want to do, charter a boat, you know.
That's actually a good idea, isn't it, Brendan? If you're just kind of dipping your toe in the water, you want to get out on the water, you want to do some boating, but as Alan says, if you're not 100% sure of exactly what you want to do, well, then experiment. Try a few different types.
That's right.
And we see that too, and also with where, you know, families together will get in and buy a boat, because maybe, you know, you can share, you know, 17-footer. You know, also let's look about ownership of boat and cost of owning a boat. You know, with the engines that they use on boats today, like 4-stroke outboards, they make them very, very fuel efficient. So it doesn't mean you have to spend, you know, hundreds and hundreds of dollars a day to keep that thing running.
And again, that's a popular, perhaps a misconception, but a part, you know, everyone knows how much gas costs, and I'm assuming that you burn the same kind of gas in a boat you would in a car, so it's about the same price.
Right.
So, but if you're dealing with 2014 fuel economy designed engines, then it's the same as your car, isn't it?
That's right.
Yeah. They're much more fuel efficient. The cost of maintenance is actually not like they were maybe years ago, where, you know, you can, you know, you may have a $200 to $300 a year winterizing bill for that outboard, so you don't have to spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars getting into a boat, a 17-footer, or with a family, and if you're a shared family, of course, it makes it a little bit easier to afford it. But
they're also cleaner and greener. You know, they're better. They're much easier on the environment. They're quieter than they were. They don't smell like they used to. They don't smoke like they used to. So, you know, it actually ends up being, in a small boat, that becomes a much more pleasurable experience.
Our two guests from Boating BC and its board of directors are Alan Stovell and Brendan Keys on Boomer Life here on AM 650, and we're back with more right after this quick timeout.
Canada's only weekly radio show dedicated to the baby boomer lifestyle. This is Boomer Life on AM 650.